there's a prevalence in our lives and in our world to see destruction and move towards being destructive. And then maybe we're not being destructed, but we don't feel particularly useful. We feel useless. We're not actually effective in making our lives better or anyone else's lives better. We're not actively trying to bring anything down, but we're not effective. Then there's a level where we're useful. And there can be attachment to being useful and getting praise for being useful. That's the secondary question. But in this third phase, we're actually seeing ourselves as being effective and doing something that has some value to it. And the fourth stage is not very well understood and not very well practiced, but it's Wu Wei. And it's combining being useless and useful in a way that the mind can't fully understand. It's doing with non-doing. It's not doing anything but the job gets done. And if we're mired in being destructive or feeling useless, we're less likely to find Wu Wei. But if we feel useful and then we're willing to let go of the need to feel useful, then Wu Wei might become more accessible to us. So if you're a therapist, you may want to feel useful. You certainly don't want to be destructive, and you don't want to feel useless. So in the ideal of trying to feel useful, you might say, I was reflecting on our last session, and I appreciate how much you shared, but at the same time, I wonder if it'd be helpful to add pauses and slow the pace to see what's coming up beyond the level of words, ideas, and concepts. Would that feel okay? This is something with the 10 to 30% of clients who don't leave the mental and are just sort of giving facts and facts and facts. The question is, to be stuck in the mind, is that, or perseverating in thoughts, is that destructive? Maybe. Is it useless? Well, if it's going on a lot and not bringing any kind of conclusion. So what would be useful might be to bring some kind of pauses that naturally come in. Just taking a deep breath, maybe a second deep breath. And this is the faith that Wu Wei may invite. So the thing is that during video supervision, student therapists may want to interrupt to show the professor they're doing something in the session. But the barometer is whether it serves the client to interrupt. That's the barometer we want to use. So now it could be, especially in these cases where the client is talking a lot, it could be useful to open a session with meditation. And that connecting to emotion means being willing to be heard. So, if the emotions are destructive, we may not want to connect to them. If we have emotions around feeling useless, we may not want to connect to them. But if we're willing to do that, maybe that's being useful to ourselves. The usefulness towards ourselves, if Wu Wei is the ultimate, the objective, to be in a state of just surrender and flow, but we're finding that we're just feeling destructive or useless, not feeling useful, then our job may be simply to connect to those emotions. And that is how we can serve them. And by connecting to them, not needing to remove them, so not needing to be useful in terms of removing them, then the negative emotions, feeling useless and destructive, may actually be an invitation to Wu Wei.